the stadium is not 1-to-1 with Takara, which kind of makes sense in a way, but at the same time it's also a little disappointing because it is they basically I have a picture. Where is it? I don't know if I threw it in here. Oh, there's Mammoth up close.
Yeah, I
Um,
like the gear chip design of Mammoth. Some
Mm-hmm.
people didn't like it because it's a little bit more cartoony looking, I think, or more, I don't know. It's a little bit more cartoony, I think, than some of the
Mm-hmm.
other ones, but I think it's still
mhm.
in that sports club aesthetic that I think we're kind of moving away from. Like, I don't think Hell's Hammer and Dran Buster looks like a sports avatar. I think it looks like
No.
a bit chip sort of, but it looks like a sports avatar that like an up and coming designer would make on like Twitter. That's what it kind of
Yeah,
reminds me of.
makes sense.
Hope we get a Sid from Ice Age, to pair up with Mammoth.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, then we get a
pretty funny.
Saber-tooth. But we got the
Oh, a
stadium
Sabretooth would be
comparison.
so cool.
It would
That
be
would
That'd be
be,
very,
so
yeah.
cool.
yeah, that'd be like Tusk Cat at that point.
Yeah. But here
Uh,
you see the comparison between the Hasbro and Takara Tomy. One of them,
One of them looks fake as hell. Oh no, they put it on backwards. That's funny.
Oh, it's
I
oh,
like in the
was
that's
travel
interesting.
state.
I was like, wait, why? Oh yeah, this was just taken out of the package. Yeah, okay, that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense. So I'm like, why is the opening like way off? But yeah, no. But yeah, like the basically what they did for the Hasbro Stadium is they took the Takara Stadium and then just pinched it on this end and this end, and then yeah, that's basically what you get. Just
I like
all
it.
right, I suppose. I mean, I don't know
It
how to
se-
feel about it.
I don't know. It seems like now that you look at it, it's like that seems like what you would expect the extreme line to have looked like. I don't know.
Right.
Looking at it like this, it's like Takara really went with like a potato. Like that is a really bowed out. It's almost
Looks like an
like
animated frog
a
face.
pentagon there, or like a hexagon at that point with those other corners there.
Yeah. And it's funny, it does kind of look like a cat or like a frog face
Mm-hmm.
when I don't know if you're maybe in like editing or something, you can if you were to flip the picture of the Hasbro Stadium around,
Mm-hmm.
like just inverse it, it would look like Among Us.
I knew you. I was like, you're like flipping it. Like, oh, I know where this is going.
It's a pretty sussy stadium. It's pretty sus, you know.
Yeah.
But I've seen like it looks really severe, right? It
Mm-hmm.
looks extreme. There's also
Hmm.
something to be aware of is I don't know how big it doesn't really play a big part, but depending on what focal lengths they took this picture at, can also change up the way it looks, right? So it's like you could do an experiment on your phone to where if like you bring up your phone and look at yourself, your nose is gonna look like really big. But if you go like this, or even have someone else take a picture of you and zoom in, your face is a little bit wider and your middle of your nose is smaller. So there could be some optical illusions going on a little bit as well. But there is a picture that compares them, and you can definitely like, yeah, that's Among Us. Come
Yeah.
on, that's a crewmate, dude.
It's
But
like
yeah, you could definitely see it.
you got like normal crewmate and then
Yeah,
like
like Weight
crewmate
Watchers.
after Yeah. Yeah,
One's
pretty
on
much.
keto.
It's like normal
Crewmate,
norm
but like supersized, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
This
like
is the McDonald's
one said
version.
enlarge me. Yeah, supersize
Before
me.
McDonald's, after McDonald's.
Yeah.
But overall, the center of the dish in the middle looks to be about the same. I think one
Mm-hmm.
looks like it could be lower, maybe if I'm like, but that's like splitting hairs almost. But there's just nowhere near as much space on the sides for something to kind of chill out.
Yeah.
And from the battles that I've seen, it causes things to not have as much time to rest. Like they battled with like Phoenix or Sword. I don't know if it was a Phoenix Wing. It might have just been a Phoenix Wing because I don't even think they unboxed the Soar Phoenix. But they
Mm-hmm.
battled the Phoenix Wing, and there wasn't really any time for it just to kind of chill out and go slow. It was just boom, 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 boom. You know, um, could be annoying. Could be like a zero G situation where it's like it just kind of KOs itself all the time. But it could also mean, you can't just launch super hard on an attack type. You got to change up your strategy a little bit. So the way that it looks to me is less of like a Hasbro cut down, But it reminds me of like Zero G is like my best example where they have like an attack type stadium, a balance type with slightly different shapes. They were all garbage, but
Yeah.
that was a different problem. But I'm interested to get the stadium just to see how it does. But I don't necessarily dislike it. But I also come from a perspective of I already have like 3 or 4 Takara Tomy ones.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a Takara Tomy one, we're gonna have to wait and see like Beyblade YouTubers and other people kind of test it to see if it's like, yeah, you're not gonna get as much strategy with this, or it's
Yeah.
like, it's just not as good. But at the end of the day, stadiums are kind of expensive, but I've used my Burst Stadium for like 7 years. You just got to take good care of it. Like they last forever, So they're easily like Beyblades. I don't know about for X, but for Burst, after a season or two, just throw it away. You can't use it anymore. It's trash now, right? Because of the new stuff. But for the stadiums, those are always usable. So if you're going to invest in anything, invest in a stadium. But
Yeah.
I'm excited to try this.
Yeah, like the stadiums they'll weather through anything. Like you can throw any gen of Bay in like anything, and the stadium is gonna be like the one thing that will very likely survive the longest, for the
Yeah,
most
just
part.
don't step on it, and preferably
Yeah.
don't store your Beyblades in the stadium. I did that as a kid. I'm sure a lot of viewers out there probably have more than a few Beyblades and a launcher or two just chilling in the stadium. Maybe some crumbs or some like loose hair is in there, and it's like, then you gotta like get your stadium and go like this to get all the
Yeah.
bays out of it. Probably don't do that. It's not gonna do that much, but it just adds to potential scuffs if you care about that.
And stress if you have a
Um,
lot of them in there, especially for like metal fight. Like I saw, like my one friend, he always kept them in his stadium, and it was so like warped after a while because the weight would like just kind of reshape certain parts of it and it became
oh
like
yeah,
super lumpy. And I mean, we got metal again, so if you just throw your bays in here, it's gonna crack something eventually.
yeah. And don't just throw your bays in there, because now that we have metal and metal pieces, I kind of hope we don't get a metal sharp like we had on
No,
Fireblaze or
no,
Phoenix,
no.
because that was the stadium destroyer right
Yeah.
Oh
there.
yeah.
So you just got to take good care of it. But there are more differences to the Hasbro Stadium than just um, being on a weight loss plan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the pockets, like the outer pockets, the overfinished pockets, are very different.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to take it from here to explain the differences with them, but it's a pretty substantial change, and it could change the outcome of a lot of battles as well.
From what I've seen, they're like way bigger. Like you launch if a normal in the X or the Karatomi Stadium, if a Beyblade gets shot in there, it will make the most ear-piercing noise ever for about three
Yeah.
seconds, and then it'll stop spinning entirely. Or it'll have so much like recoil and bounce in there, it'll just pop itself back out. Like the pockets are super duper small on the X Stadium, but they look way bigger in the Hasbro Stadium. I don't even know if they're pockets as much as just an exit zone, and then the rest of the shroud, like prevents it from going out. From what I've seen, but I haven't seen as many videos of the battle. But it seems like one thing is for sure: the pockets are way more sizable, and like Beyblades will spin in it after they've been knocked in. So
Everything,
at that point you just call the battle,
everything's like Rhino Horn in the Takara Stadium, just
pretty
spinning in the
much.
pocket. But I am
Hmm.
curious when they like announced the Asia Championship. Is one of these stadiums going to be legal for competition? Are there going to be different brackets? Like, if it's an Asia tournament, they're probably not going to use Hasbro. So is Hasbro not going to be competition legal and worldwide? Or I don't know, because I know Takara uses Hasbro to get more of a global reach in their distribution. So
Yeah.
that'll be funny to see which one, if for some reason Hasbro actually gets a dominant role in competitive play. That'd be sick. That'd be a big W for Hasbro, that their design or their quality for the product was better than the original design for competitive
Hmm.
or whatnot.
I
Yeah, it'd be cool to see like in one like the semifinals of like a world championship, or you see like the U.S. representative use like out of his three bays, one of them is like the Talon Patera or whatever, and it's like, okay, we have a Hasbro bay here. It's not just Takara Tomy dominated, but Hasbro is. I remember going to like a regional tournament when I was younger, and it's like if you won that, you could go on to like further on. And I remember for like the final battle, they used the friggin' what was the Hasbro Stadium? I think it was like yellow.
I
But
guess just
or
Thunder
no,
Whip.
maybe, but it had the divots in it. It had like a spiral sort of divot in there.
Oh, it might have been the orange Burning Fire Strike one.
Yes, yes.
That one is.
Excuse my profanity, but that battle pissed me off, dude. Because I had such a heavy Beyblade, okay, and it sat in the middle, nothing could touch it. I was undefeated, and he had like his stock Earth Virgo combo that was just somehow
Deadly.
spinning around, and I got trapped inside. I've hated Hasbro stadiums ever since.
I think the thing is, Hasbro stadiums are really fun for the experience, and like those stadiums are great when you have more than two players. Because the large ones, like when you do like a two-player battle in them, they suck. Like my first couple of videos on my channel that I did when I was before I got my X stuff, I just did Metal Fight battles in like those larger stadiums, and they were so boring for like the first half of the video, and then once I introduced like the third Beyblade at the end, then it got interesting. But
Yeah.
I mean, I was so like limited to using like Vulcan and Lightning El Drago and Screw and like Cyclone or Tornado or whatever. And it's like those things hit hard, but I have to have an attack type. I have to have something that's recoily in order to make the battle fun, and that's just kind of a flaw with those particular stadiums when it comes down to a like one-on-one setting.
Yeah.
But I think what we'll see for the World Championships is like Takara will make more stadiums, and like Hasbro will have probably at some point a larger stadium, because we are going to be seeing the 3-player stadium for Takara very soon. So I don't think Hasbro will just kind of be stuck with this tiny little thing, and then I mean who we haven't seen the like the bucket stadiums that they're just going to throw on the shelves for $10 yet. So I mean maybe those are actually like better than Takara Tomy stand. Maybe not. But it would be kind of funny if like no one likes the TT Stadium after Hasbro just drops their bucket stadiums and they turn out to be like way better.
Yeah. The thing
Which
is
would
with the bucket stadiums is that it's because it's not going to have the shroud, so I assume it's going to be kind of tall, right? So that way, and I honestly I don't think it'll have the extreme line, because the extreme line adds so much speed towards like you need it, right? You need to have it for the whole gimmick to work. But if you were to take the shroud off of it and just add raised walls, I don't think that'd be enough. Because
No.
it adds so much speed. There's no way a soar phoenix isn't going to go flying. So I fully think for like the bucket stadium, maybe it'll be similar in overall circumference or like whatever, like what the size to the Takara Tomy one, maybe like a little bit bigger than the nice stadium that we have in the set. But it's not going to have the extreme line. It's going to instead have like a ramp to where you still get some sort of ramp slingshot action, but there's no way they could do anything like this set one without a shroud, unless they somehow sell the shroud to where the shroud can like fit into the stadium, but they have to be really stackable, or else
Yeah.
it's going to be
Shipping and
impossible.
everything,
It's going to be
yeah.
impossible to ship them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Or-
I'm not even thinking about that because it's going to be trash.
I just wait. They could do a hinge thing. They could just make it like a bucket, but the shroud closes over, like it splits in half, so that you can still stack the buckets through, but then you just flip it over.
Price. Hasbro doesn't do very much engineering in their products.
I mean,
Whatever.
like it's
And
probably
whatever
those-
gonna be
plastic mold.
flimsy. It'll be like flimsy.
Those
but-
hinges though just add on to the expense, and it's really not a lot, but when you look at Hasbro as a company, they're like splitting dimes basically.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I mean, it would be like just you would just be able. It wouldn't be like a
And
metal rod
durability
hinge.
also is not gonna work. Kids are gonna snap those off, and they're never gonna work. I think it's just in theory, it's definitely a good idea. I just can't see any moving parts, because then you can't replace it if it breaks.
Well, you could just buy a new one.
that's a
Put more waste
I mean,
out there.
for
in the world.
Hasbro-
yeah.
For
Hasbro's gonna
Hasbro.
steal that right now.
Yeah.
They could just buy another one.
You're welcome, Hasbro. I just saved your asses.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a bucket with high walls. Maybe it'll have like, I think that it'll have the redirect, whatever that's called on the extreme line, where it shoves it to the middle.
Yeah, the
But it's
stall
gonna have
stopper or whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna have that, but it's gonna be molded into the plastic, so you get some sort of redirection. So it's similar, but it's that's why I think that's why they're choosing not to show it, because they probably know it's like, this is for the people. This is just the cheaper product. Okay, this is like they want you to get the set, or else they probably would have shown the bucket thing. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Either that or they haven't finished the bucket stadium yet. They could still be molding it
That's
over.
been done. That's been done for months.
Oh,
It's
has
definitely been done. Because I mean, Takara Tomy started working on Beyblade X whenever GT was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2019. So they took years to finish it. Like that's like what, 4 years to go into production or design, different model or idea, design, modeling it, delivering it, producing it on a grand scale. And Hasbro works with them pretty closely. So I guarantee you that everything that is going to be released in June has been sitting in a warehouse in Pawtucket or whatever Hasbro's HQ is for probably the last 6 to 7 months while they get their marketing and stuff ready. But the actual products have been done for a while.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. It is just weird to think about, like, there's not that time gap where you would expect them to put their full attention on
Yeah.
X, which is also a little bit sad, but it is what it is. I think the biggest misstep they could do is just have the Bucket Stadium just be the Slingshot Stadium re-released.
Pretty much.
That would
That's
suck.
probably what it's going to be, but
If,
look
if
at
it
it.
is,
It's,
that's
yeah.
that'll
It's
go
going to
over
be
well.
that with the X line, or maybe there's like a gear right. I don't know. I don't think they had mold in the gears either.
That's
'cause
what I was
don't
thinking, but it's probably
see how that'd
durability.
work. Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's going to be the Slingshot Stadium, but it's going to have the little stall stopper redirect thing in there kind of molded in, and that a bay will just kind of naturally run on it, or it'll hit and just bounce away. But it's definitely not going to be, or it'll be like a super gimmicky stadium that nobody will expect, that isn't like anything else, isn't like this at all.
That would be
It's on
so
a cheaper
fun.
version.
I
I would
mean-
rather that, honestly, but but some people, $50 I think is pretty affordable, which I don't know if we said what the retail cost is, but the retail cost of this set is $49.99 USD. What that translates to in other countries, or what the markups will be to other countries, I don't know. But that could still be, I think that's a pretty good price for what you get, but that's $50. That could still be cost prohibitive for some people.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that the Bucket Stadium is at least usable for those people. Because I never want to tell people just save up. That's like the worst option, is just save up. Just save up for it. Like, that's not a realistic option for people, or tell them, sorry, you can't have it yet. That sucks. So I hope it's
Yeah.
like fun or usable.